What if fixing flat food had less to do with salt and more to do with when and which acid you use? In the next few minutes, you will see how one small cooking habit can change how food tastes and how your body responds to it. This pattern shows up consistently across home kitchens and nutrition research. In real kitchens, health isn't decided by perfect meals or single nutrients. It's shaped by small cooking choices repeated day after day. I am Gina, and that's the lens behind Vital Cook, everyday culinary guidance designed to work in real kitchens. Most people reach for salt when food feels flat. That helps, and it hurts too. What's interesting is that the food is usually seasoned, and adding more salt often makes it worse than better. That confusion isn't personal. It shows up again and again in how we cook and in how our bodies respond to food. Adding salt keeps pushing the flavors one notch up. Acid changes the tone of the sharpness. Acid also changes what happens after you eat. Organic acids make food safer by lowering the pH, creating an environment where harmful bacteria struggle to survive. Some acids don't stop in the gut. Citric and malic acids aren't just flavor compounds. Your own cells naturally produce and use versions of these molecules in the process that turns food into energy. Acetic acid from vinegar consistently shows up in studies as a way to soften post-meal glucose spikes when used with meals. Here is the part that most recipes never explain. The same acid can behave like 3 different ingredients depending on the timing when you add it. Acids aren't stable. Heat, time, and exposure change how they work. When acid cooks for a long time, the sharp parts fade. What stays behind is depth, not brightness. That's because the aromatic volatile compounds, the parts your nose reads as fresh, evaporate with heat. When you add acid early, in marinades or braises, you're not seasoning, you're changing the internal structure. Acid gently loosens protein bonds. That's why early acid tenderizes, and why too much turns food mushy. Midway through cooking, acid stops changing structure and starts shaping flavor memory. This is why cuisines that rely on long cooking, like Indian, Southeast Asian, or Latin American, use tamarind, fermented acids, or vinegars mid-cook, acids that hold flavor under heat. Late acid doesn't cook, it wakes food up. At the end, acid boosts aroma perception, increases salivation, and makes salt taste stronger. That's why just add lemon is not a good instruction. Timing decides when acid tenderizes, deepens, or brightens. The same rule shows up in digestion, especially with vinegar. Starch is just long chains of glucose. Your body's job is to cut those chains fast. But acid slows that first cut. When acidic foods are eaten with starch, 3 things happen consistently in studies. Stomach emptying slows, starch digesting enzymes work less efficiently, and blood glucose rises more gradually. This is why adding vinegar to rice, sourdough to bread, or lemon to potatoes often leads to steadier energy after meals. Acid partially unfolds proteins, which can make digestion easier, not harder, is denaturation. Acid gently unfolds protein, the same thing heat does, but just slower. Acid helps reduce phytates, the compound that binds to minerals like zinc and iron, preventing our body from absorbing it. Fat doesn't digest with acid, but acid helps increase the flavor contrast, which affects how much we eat. Acid doesn't ruin dairy. It changes its structure very much like what our stomach does to dairy products. In fact, many of the dairy products like cheese, paneer, yogurt, kefir, they all exist because of acid. We'll unpack dairy and acid properly in a full episode video because that myth is deep rooted and it requires a proper deep dive. Once you see acid as a system, the question changes. It's no longer what tastes good, it becomes what job do I need this acid to do? That's where a pantry of purpose begins. In everyday kitchens, acid is often treated as a flavor, something you add when food tastes dull. But in practice, acid is a tool. The same ingredient can solve completely different problems, depending on which acid, when, and why. Citric acids like lemon, lime, or amla work fast and clean. They brighten flavor without heaviness and help the body absorb minerals from plant foods. Citric acid lowers pH just enough to release flavor compounds and improves non-heme iron absorption. Acetic acid from vinegars creates contrast. It sharpens rich foods and slows how quickly starches turn into sugar. Acetic acid delays gastric emptying and can modestly blunt post-meal glucose spikes. Lactic acid works differently. It softens structure, stabilizes texture, and tends to be gentler on digestion. Lactic acid bacteria aid protein breakdown and support gut microbial balance. Malic and tartaric acids from fruits like apples or tamarind, they create a softer, rounder sourness. They do not linger longer. These acids stimulate saliva and digestion without sharp spikes in acidity. Not all acids belong in a home kitchen. Industrial acids, common in ultra-processed foods, serve shelf life, not nourishment. They offer no culinary advantage, when real food is the goal. A purposeful pantry doesn't mean more acids. It means fewer, chosen by function. Starting a meal with acid changes how the next foods are processed in your gut. The same meal can give you different responses. That's why it's a good idea to start your meal with a salad with some vinegar dressing. This is a habit which is very beneficial for your health, but almost no one uses. You have seen how acid shapes flavor, structure, digestion, and glucose response. Use it purposefully and follow Vital Cook for science-backed kitchen-ready guidance that supports your health. What is your go-to acid? Drop it in the comment and reach out if you need any further guidance.